Okay. Good morning, or good afternoon, good night, or whatever. I'm recording this at like 8 a.m. before work. Um, so I wanted to make a video on my game, Rocky Travels. Not because it's good, but because it's bad. And the reason why I say this is because there's 141 entries. I got 135th overall. Um, and so when I got the ranking, I was like, okay, I mean, I guess that makes sense. It was my first game jam back and whatever. Um, I'm not gonna make excuses. I don't really care. Um, I got to learn things, and that's all I cared. That's all I cared about, and that's what I needed for work. Um, but I thought it would be like kind of refreshing for to be able to see on YouTube the the complete opposite of like the current quote unquote meta of videos that we see, where it's like, oh my god, I just won Ludum Dare, or I just won this game jam, or I just won this game jam, or I ranked top 10 in this game jam. Anyone who is looking to get into game jams will see that and think that that's the bar because that's what's being presented and that's what's being shown on YouTube. But here I am knowing this and also having placed 135th out of 141. I thought it was 140. Maybe there was a late entry. But now I like to joke that my next game jam, the Pirate Software game jam, um, that I want to break. My goal for that is to break the 96th percentile. Um, and so let me just go over the jam real quick. So the mini jam it has a theme and a limitation. Um, the theme is presented very early on, before it even starts, and it is gravity. And then the limitation is constant motion. You, where that's more of like the limitation comes out when the game jam starts, basically. Um, and then it's rated on like four scales, and yeah. So I got raw. I'm gonna go with, I guess, like scores between my game and like everyone else would be like a 1.2 and 1.095, 1.278, 1643, whatever. I had three people review it. I think you can see that. Yeah, three ratings. So not a crazy amount, but also from this like image, it like doesn't look that interesting anyway, so I don't blame people for not wanting to try it out. And also, um, I made my game in Unity. Oh no, whatever. Um, like uh, Boo Unity, I guess. I don't know, whatever. Um, but uh, yeah. So I think the fact that it needed to be downloaded also hurt in um, the number of ratings that it got, because I don't blame people. You don't want to download just like some random quote unquote game that you find on like a relatively small game jam or any game jam really. So, um, yeah, yeah. Okay, moving on. So let's actually get to the game. So, this is a menu, and it's pretty plain. I'm just gonna go over stuff from here on. I'm just gonna be going over stuff that is actually in the game. So I have two scenes. One where it's actual gameplay, that's sample scene. I didn't rename it because I didn't care. And main menu, that one I made after. The main menu I made second, but I'll go through that first because it's much simpler. All it is that you get this play button. It generates the final score. And let's see, do I have code? I also haven't looked at like any of this in probably like 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. Um, so sorry if it's a little clunky, like me sorting through things. But yeah, so on start, it just gets the static data, and that will be the score. Super simple. That is like I had to learn it, and it was pretty damn easy. Um, you just make a class, you make a static variable, and then you just name it whatever. And this value you can just bounce around to wherever you want, and it will stay where like however. So if you guys need a little tip that way, then go for it. This actually really made my understanding of static a lot clearer. And like I knew, like I understood them before, but now it's like, oh, I can just take it along with me. It's kind of like the user's experience, um, to have a static unit, like static data. Um, and if I say things wrong, correct me in the comments. I most certainly can. I'm just a junior dev at work. Um, and then, so this on mouse down is just for this. This isn't even a real button because the button didn't want to work. I had to break it down into, I believe, not that, not that. It is this capsule, which is that. And I believe on hover, yeah, on mouse enter, it dims to be gray, and when you leave it, it becomes white again. That was something that was pretty neat. Also, another like pretty quick way for you to do that. You just make sure you give the capsule a box collider. I think you set it to is trigger, and then you just write this code how I have it here. Also, my code is on GitHub, so I will post a link for that if you want to take a look. And yeah, so you can just like review it because I'm gonna try and go relatively fast. I'm already like, I don't even know, 7 minutes in, 10 minutes in, something. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. Like this here. It uses this background that I made. I made an sprite. I can go over that in a separate video if you guys want. Just tell me. But I'm not gonna do that all in one video. Otherwise, this would be way too stupidly long for me to go through art assets. Anyways, moving on. So this is the game. This is how it looks. This is how it looks in game. This is how it is behind the scenes. Not much to it, and I'm proud that I was able to keep the scope down. And here's the thing that I have to emphasize. I made a like bad game. Like I'm fine with the game. It's a bad game. It's whatever. You live and you learn. You know, I made a bad game, but I kept the scope down, which for some people, like you'll get choked up at the idea of like, at like new ideas just flowing into your head, and you're like, oh my god, like I have so many ideas, like I need to do this and I need to do that. In fact, I had to do this with myself for the Pirate Software game jam, where I'm implementing types and abilities and moves, and I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna? There's 2 weeks. I was like, how am I going to fit all this in 2 weeks? Like I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna go crazy. And then I just like took a step back, and all you have to do is just take a step back and just understand it's not like really what you need to. You don't have to do all that, you know. You can just keep it simple. I'm for my You're making prototypes. Game jams are making prototypes. That's all that matters. So as long as it's working and you have a basis of like the idea, um, then like it'll make sense and it's fine. But yeah, so everything is within a hexagon object, and it's placed here. Let me see. Can I? I'll do a quick for the background. Basically, how the background is, it's just a giant sprite, and it rotates with like what direction you're moving the spaceship in, which I later found out was a bad idea because people will get nauseous from that. Is how it seems. So I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't recommend doing that. And the player doesn't actually move. The player is just there for people to see. It has the collider, and it's for people to be able to like know what they're quote unquote controlling. But really, you're just rotating the position of how this game works. Is that I'm just rotating the position of these coins to your coins and asteroids. As you can see from coin and space rock, and it's super simple. All these triangles are just in place for, that's just what they're called for all of these. These coins can swap back and forth between coin and space rock. And then we can get into the code for that. Okay, so let's see. Let's go through any small ones first. Okay, so the score will update. The score is also static, by the way. The score will update whenever like one of these coins expands, and basically you either hit a coin or you avoid a rock. And yeah, it's pretty simple. Not much else to this in particular. This right here actually is for this is for like when you actually hit a coin, it updates it by 5. If you miss the coin but it goes past, you still get a point. Because I couldn't figure out in the amount of time how to like construct it and put it together. This is the menu, hex construct. So this is just for like having the. This is just for this. I don't really think I put much into hexaconstruct. Because it just didn't really matter all that much. I don't remember for that. Yeah, and as you can see, there's a lot of just like random variables that were never used. But this is my rotation. And so if there's no input, then it will just like constantly be moving. I think I could have done without like this logic and just had like this here and gotten rid of this. But the reason why I did it like this is because I wanted to have it just like stick to whatever have it stick to like whatever value was last used. So if you were going left, I want it to stay left. If you were going right, I want it to stay right. But there's definitely a simpler way to do this. Definitely don't do it this way because it felt choppy when I was trying it out. And this is just to rotate. This felt fine. Um, this felt fine. It was hard trying to. So there's a speed up mechanic where you can use the spacebar to go at a pretty high speed, and it just didn't really. I wanted to add a cooldown, but I didn't have enough time. But and the cooldown would have definitely like helped, but even then, I don't think it would have gotten much better. Yeah. Scorekeeper went through that. Static data went through that. Triangulo. All right. Okay, so this is, I think, the meat of the project. I don't think there's anything else after this. Yeah. So okay, so this is a lot. So, and I want to preface this with the fact that I am no longer using Unity. You'll see that in my Pirate Software game jam video that I'll come out with when, like, once that's rated, once that's ranked. And then you can see the progress. But yeah, that's using monogame. So on start, it makes a new vector, and for the transform, it also gets the collider of the, I believe it's the hexagon. And then in the fixed update, this just determines, this is a mess, but to preface, but and it's nested. Nested. It's fine. It's fine. It's not that bad. But essentially how this works is that this if statement will check the essentially a cooldown of the last time that a rock, or I think it's just a rock. No, and a coin. A rock or a coin were made. And in that spot, there will be a cooldown of 5 seconds. And then down here, if it doesn't do this because of the time, then it'll do this, which is just a 1 second cooldown. Oh, and the local scale is, I believe, just for, I believe that is just for like the actual objects. Yeah, because this is this file appends to these objects that are in the triangle, and yeah. So if it is above, if it is greater than or less than, greater than or equal to 40, it'll turn into a rock, or less than or equal to 40, it'll be a rock. So there's a 40% chance because it's 1 to 100. And then if it's greater than or equal to 90, there will be a coin, which I think this amount turned out fine. I don't think there's anything too wrong with that. Among other things. Time since level load doesn't matter. Like, none of this really matters. This just resets the, like, how big it is, so that like once they expand, they go back to like being practically invisible. And it also disables the collider for this. so that like you don't just accidentally bump into it while there's nothing there. That's what that's for, right? So okay, so this is an async function, and this was probably the meat of like what I was trying to understand and learn. This took me so long, and I don't even think I have it fully implemented perfectly. I think there needs to be like an await here, and then you do like async maybe here, but then that causes an issue there. So it's like I don't know, man. I don't know. Unity's weird because there's so many like holes that you have to jump through in order to get it to work. Anyways, this started as a coroutine, and then the coroutine wasn't working how I wanted it to be. As you can see, there's the coroutine up here. I'm sure there's a git commit. There might be actually. I'm not certain on that. Don't quote me. There's definitely like a Unity cloud commit where it has the coroutine, but I don't know about git. And so what does this do? It just expands it. Oh, right. It just like these if statements. It checks the time that you've been playing for, and it increases the size of like the coin or the rock by that amount, like at that rate, and whatever else. And so it starts off pretty slow. I think this was like a pretty good rate, but it was still a little too slow. And then this was too fast. And if it wasn't this that was too fast, there was definitely something that was too fast. Because something was causing like an issue for it to be like super like extremely fast. And then it basically becomes, I think it becomes unplayable, but it's whatever. And then on trigger enter, this basically, if the colors are what determine it, because that's how it'll know. If the color is yellow and you're entering it, you get 5 points. If the color is red and you enter it, then you lose. And that's it. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an in-depth look at how the game is. How a 135th place game actually looks. So let me, oh man, go here, start it. And I at least want to demo it for you guys to see what I'm talking about. Bam. And so it'll go left and right. As you can see, this is just rotating. I got 4 points because 4 of them spawned. And sometimes that'll happen. And can't do anything about it. And then it'll just toss you back to the menu, and here I am back again. Here I am once again. And for some reason, yeah, like you saw there, it can get really fast. So really what I think is the best option is to just like go in one direction, and then as soon as you see red where you're hovering, just try and use the spacebar to avoid it. I think that's like part of the reason why it isn't fun is because it becomes monotonous like that. The goal was to have it be kind of like Subway Surfers, and addicting in that way, but it's pretty boring. So what did we learn? I wanted to like make some final notes. Because remember, as I've said multiple times, and you're probably already sick of me saying it, this is 135th out of 140. So what could we have done better? I think I don't even know, dude. Like I think the cooldown cooldown on the speed boost. And then wow, that's crooked. Oops. Um, and I think the art was fine. Oh, there's also no audio, by the way. Which honestly, I don't really care for audio. I don't like audio. I don't like working with audio. Um, I am a big music fan, but I hate working with it in any capacity. Um, so sound effects and audio. The only reason why I'm looking forward to it is because I'm gonna be making like just making sounds with my mouth and recording it to Audacity for my the next game. Um, but yeah, anything for you guys watching at home to take away is just scope, keep it small, like I did. You don't have to go this small, but I wouldn't like suggest going crazy big. I don't think anyone would suggest going crazy big, especially since this was done in a collective 24 hours over the course of 3 days and 3 or 4 days. Um, and I was exhausted by the end of it. And then just do your best on trying to understand what your code is actually doing. Um, and if you understand what your code is actually doing, instead of just like tossing stuff at it and assuming like how you think it'll work or something, then you'll have an easier time. You're not going to be wrestling with it. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I just wanted to give you guys like I just wanted to give you guys a look of okay, I don't want to do this is for the people out there who want to do game jams but then think to themselves, I can't do that because it's something that all I ever see on YouTube are these amazing games. Um, I can even pull it up. YouTube game jam. Um, and you're like, I can't do any of this. Like, I made $1,000 game. Um, epic mechanics for a game jam and winning. Like, that's not the majority of us. That's not gonna happen. Winning my first ever game jam, like, these are unrealistic, and I want the one thing for you to know after watching this video is to just understand that not everyone is like this. Not everyone is going to have some amazing, spectacular game or whatever. These are probably very good games, but um, I want you to know that there is the, I guess, dark side where you'll get a score of 1.232 and you'll get a raw score of 2.25. Um, but yeah, I just want you to know, just go out, do it, do your game jam anyway. It's not that bad. You do it, you learn, and then you move on to the next one. And then you just learn more in that one. And you just build and build and build and build. But yeah, this video is already probably like 30 minutes long, so I'm going to peace out here, get some breakfast. But yeah, I hope this helped. If not, sorry for wasting your time. But yeah, have a nice day, y'all.